In this video, we will see how to add some constraints that will help us to manage the movements of our character. So the first thing we can do here, it's manage the fingers. And it's a good example, the fingers. So what I will do, I will just go into shape like B bones like that. You can see that's very big in the beginning. So what you can go here, it's go into the edit mode here, and you will go to scale B bone to make it more thinner, just like this. If I find a good way of doing it, maybe I can just use this at 0.1 maybe. Okay, even 0.05, let's say, to have this kind of shape. Good, so now we are good to continue. And what I would like to do is play with the copy rotation value. So let's say we would like to close the entire finger when we make this movement, okay? So when I make this movement, this one will follow and make the rotation, and this one will follow and close the entire finger just with one click, and we don't have to make a lot of clicks for that. So basically, this part will help the animator to work after. So it's very important to understand that. The first thing we will have to do is go into the constraints here and understand basically how it works, how to add a constraint that is related to another bone, okay? So basically, you just select the object that will be related first, and in second, the object that you want to add the constraint into. So let's say this one will follow the rotation of that one, okay? So it's exactly what I want to do here. And I will use the Control-Shift-C command, add constraint with target. So it will take the first selection, put it as a target, and here I want to copy rotation, okay? I want to copy the rotation. You see that you have a lot of options here. So by default, for this kind of constraint, you just have to use the local space for both here. Okay, so it means the local space, the local rotation of this one will follow the local rotation of that one. That's why it's very important to make the orientation of the bones well in the beginning when you make the rig, okay? And after, you can just use the offset option like this. You will be free to move that one in case you want, because if you don't use that, you will not be free to use this. And now if I make the rotation of this one will follow, okay? And we will make the same for this one and that one. Control-Shift-C, copy rotation, local space, okay? And here we will use the offset legacy. Now if I go there, I can just make a rotation like this very easily, and I will close my entire finger. So basically what we will do, we will make exactly the same. We will make exactly the same here, okay? And after, you just have to select the right bone to make sure that that you will create that in the good way. So here, for example, you could, for example, copy to selected, but they will keep the original bone target for all of them. So you have to be sure to select the right one anyway. So me, I prefer to do it manually for each, it's quicker, okay? So again, I make this from this Control-Shift-C, copy rotation. Let's go to local space. I will make only one hand to show you that. Like this, you will can use the same technique for the other hand if you want to finish this. Copy rotation, again, local space, and let's go for that. So it's very important to do that because it really helps a lot after for create this kind of movements. You can close the entire hand just with one click. So it's important to use that. Let's go and select the offset here. I didn't select the right bone in the beginning, so I will remake that. Sorry, with this one. Control Shift C, copy rotation. Again, local space, offset, and we continue with this one. Control C, copy rotation, offset, local space, local space. So it can take a little of time, but after, when you animate really your character, it's really important. And here the offset. So good. So now each finger will make this rotation like this. Okay. And I just be sure of that. What's happening here? I don't have the right one. Local space, local space. Okay. So maybe it's not the right one I did select over there. So I will remake the selection. Okay. Copy rotation, again, offset, local space, local space. So it's good to test it because sometimes you make a mistake like I did here. If you go quickly, just to be sure that everything works fine. So it works well. So now I can go further and create an entire bone that will control the entire hand. And to do that, I like to do this actually. I just go there and duplicate one here. So I will duplicate that one, okay? Like this, if I move this one in pose mode, I'm sure that it will follow always the hand like this, okay? And what we will do, we'll select this to this and make a copy rotation as well. The same way, it will be the local space again, and the offset. Like this, if I make a rotation of this one, the entire here finger will follow. And what is good is that I can copy now this one to these ones, for example. Just by doing this, copy to selected, and now I have a bone that closes the entire hand. Very useful this. You can close the entire hand and have a fist very easily. Now just by managing the rotation of the thumb, you can just play a little with that, and maybe we can make a rotation, a copy rotation to that one as well. So let's do that and see if it works well. Control Shift C, copy rotation, again, local space and local space. And yeah, it starts to move. Okay, it starts to move, not that bad. And I will make the same for this one as well. Okay, so this one to that one, Control Shift C, copy rotation. Again, it will be local space and local space, just like that. And it will close very easily, but we want something with less influence, and we can manage the influence over there. So then after, you just have to make a little rotation of this. And look, just with one rotation here, you will close the entire hand very easily. As you can see, it helps a lot to manage this kind of movement. So you can do the same way into the other hand. I will not make the same because it will take too much time for this video, but like this, it's good. You can make the exercise for the other hand as well. So just follow the same process to finish the character. I will make Alt-R to put back everything into the basic pose. And now I would like to make something a little different. Now I would like to make here a controller that will control the entire arm here. And to do that, I will make it for the foot first. Like this, you will understand how it works basically. So basically, we will need a controller. It cannot be the same bone, so we have to duplicate this bone. So let's go for it. We select the two bones here and we duplicate them and make a right click to keep them into the right place, into the same place. For these two bones, we will go into the armature settings, into the transform value, and use the scale B bone to increase the size of it. Like this, they will be just bigger and easier to catch. It's just for a visualization here. Okay, so let's go for it now and select these two bones and go into the bone section. We want nothing here as a parent, so we want no parent here. Okay, no parent from this one, no parent for this one. Good. So now we will create something a little different. We will create some bones that will be in front of the knees. Okay, so we will make an extrusion into the y-axis, and then these bones as well will need to not be connected. Like this, we can move them here, for example. Same way for that one, not connected. Okay, and like this, we are sure with GY we can put it like that. We can put them like this and make a rotation maybe like this to have this kind of orientation. Easier to catch after, just in front of the knee like this. It will give the orientation of the knees. So basically, now we would like to make this bone make work this character like a puppet. So if I move this bone, the entire leg will move and close the knee. Okay. So for this, we have a way a little more complicated, but it's important to understand that too. We will just select this bone to that bone. So it's this bone that will have the constraint. And this constraint, it's a new constraint that you don't know yet. We will use the Control-Shift-C here, and it's an invert kinematic. Okay. You will choose the length here with the chain length where you want to stop the influence. So here it will invert, as it says, an invert kinematic, I key, goes into the other way. By default, the parenting here goes there, but we want to go the other way. So here we go with the chain length at 2 because we want to stop it here, okay? So now, if I move that one, you can see that the leg will move like this. Okay, so here it has a strange behavior over there because this one deform. Okay, so what we can do to change that, we can go into this one over there, into the option in edit mode, and go into the here the viewport display, not the viewport display, sorry, into the bone section here, and you will remove the deform for both, just like this. So now it will not act strangely when I move it here in pose mode. Good. But you can see that in front view, if I move it here, the knee is going a strange way. So sometimes you have to manage the orientation of the knee. So here, for managing the orientation of the knee, we want to manage it with this bone. So it will be bone.L007, okay? You can just call it, you can just call it in case you want, but I will just copy that name over here and go into this constraint. So I will have a pole target, it will be the armature as well, and I will select the right bone or pass here the right name, okay? And now here, this will manage the orientation of the knee, as you can see here, okay? So be careful with this. You can manage the pole angle if needed. So let's see a little if it worked well, if I did manage well. Yeah, it needs to be again. So I did select the right bone, I'm sure. Okay. And it's because this bone here is parented. So same way, I will remove the parents for these two in edit mode. Like this, it will work better. And you can see that now if I move the knee, I can change the orientation very easily, just like this, okay? But here I would like this controller to move the bone as well when rotating, so I can move the entire here leg and rotate the feet if needed. So I will select everything, make Alt R and Alt G. Now I want to copy the rotation from this one to that one, and I will make Control Shift C, and I will copy the rotation. And I will just keep the options as it is. Like this, you can see that I can make the rotation like that, okay? And what I want to do as well is make this one make the same rotation as this one, okay? So what I can do, I go in here and I will make a basic thing just to make a control P here. I can make control P to a bone from a bone to another. So I can parent this bone and keep the offset. Like this, I will have this kind of behavior now in pose mode. You can see that now it works pretty well. Okay, so now what I have my foot that is moving and move the entire leg. I have a controller that manages the orientation here of this, okay? And I have an orientation here. What I can do, I can copy back this bone, parent back this bone here to that bone with Control P, set parent, keep offset, like this, and come back into pose mode. So now I will have the orientation that will follow when I make this, okay? And same when I move it, it will go with the knee. So it's perfect to move it like this, very easily to can make the right pose that you want for this case, for example, okay? So yeah, it can be very important to manage this. We have exactly the same kind of system that you can use for the arm here, and it will make the same kind of behavior. So basically what you will do, you can select this bone to that one or this bone to that one, depending on what you want. In that case, I will make this bone to that one because it will make a better rotation in my opinion. Okay, so what we will do, we will just select this bone into edit mode. We will make a duplication, make here into the armature, transform, scale B bone, increase the size of it to make this controller, remove the relations here that they have, no parent here, and for these ones here, we'll make an extrusion as well into the y-axis, just to make this control, this articulation, rotation. We will remove the parenting as well, and with GY put them a little over there. Just make the same for this one, remove the parenting, and they will move properly. Now I would say if they want GY, okay, good. So now we have the same kind of process. We select this one to that one, Control Shift C. Okay, we make an invert kinematic. We select the right number into the right kinematic here. So it's the same kind of process here. You can see that it goes until the shoulder. And now if I move this, it will move this. Okay, perfect. And now I can still come and make the rotation over there. So in that case, we don't have to make the copy rotation here, just a controller, a basic controller here. And if you want to manage here the rotation of this, you can just play with this controller as well, and you will manage the rotation this way. So just copy the name of this, Okay, go into the constraint, go into here the constraint over there, select the armature, copy the name of the bone here. So it can make some crazy stuff like this. In that case, you just have to manage the pole angle over there to put it back. So it has to be something, a multiple by 90. Here it's negative 90. It can be 180 or something like that. So now if I move this, I will have the possibility of controlling the orientation here of this part, okay? So can be very effective to work that way for animation. And there is a last thing that I want to show you is how to control the eyes. So for this, I will go there into something with very low transform scale B bone. I will just decrease the size of it, okay, to have something like this. Looks good. So I will focus into that. Maybe I can make Control Y to invert the selection and hide the selection here. And what I can do, I can select these two bones, make an extrusion into the Y-axis, make another extrusion into the Z-axis, something like that, okay? And we will remove these two bones. Like this, we keep the relationship between these two. And what I would like to do is add the last one. And maybe I can duplicate that one, maybe. Shift D. Not really, Control Z. Maybe we'll have to make Alt H and restart from here to add one in the center because we want it to follow like that. So we'll make an extrusion here, over there, and make another here. Okay, and this one we can remove and delete the bones just like this. Good. So now let's select only the bones that we have an interest on it. Control Y, hide this. Now we can manage this as we want. So what we would like here is parenting this 2 to that one. Control P, set parent, keep offset. Like this, we keep the offset. So it just means that now in pose mode, we just have this kind of behavior. And if we scale it like this, we will have this kind of behavior, okay? I come back to edit mode here. And what we would like is these ones that manage the eyes follows and track always the two bones that they have in front. For doing this, we just make a constraint again. So we go in pose mode, select the first bone that will have that will be the target and the bone that will have the constraint, and we make Control Shift C. And in that case, we will use here attract to. So attract to by default can make some crazy stuff here. So you will have sometimes to search a little what is the good one. Okay, it's not that one in that case. Here might be something like this. Okay, good. So in that case here, it's the Y and the Z that works well. Okay. It has to be two different angles. And you can see that now if I move that one, it will follow. Good, perfect. So I will make the same for this one. Control Shift C, track to. So what it was for this one, it was the Z and the Y axis. So let's come back to it and select the Z and the Y axis, and now it should work properly. So what you can do now with this system is just with one bone, select and manage where you want the eyes to track, okay? So it can be very useful. Or sometimes you want the eyes to spread like this, something crazy, or something like that if it's closed, or follow something that goes from here to here, and it will work perfectly. So that's why it can be important to show you this technique of rigging the eyes. So everything that I made here in the left side, you can remake it in the right side to have the right movements for your rig. And that's it for the constraints. In the next video, we will add some little refinements and some aesthetics to add some new shapes for the bones. So we will add some shapes to have something more useful for using the animation. And we will organize a little the bones everywhere, and after your character will be ready to animate.